We have this door frame at home with these ascending markings in pen and pencil and dates next to each one. Maybe you have a growth chart like this in your own home. Maybe you remember, like me, growing up with one. And it's been really exciting recently. It feels like every time we come to measure the kids' height, it's like they've grown a whole inch since the last time. And sometimes they'll come to me and they'll be like, will you measure my height? And I'm like, I just measured you a couple of days ago. And they're like, yeah, but I feel like I'm getting taller. And it was funny, yesterday I was in the car with my daughter and she was thinking about this and she goes, do you think that I'll get tall enough someday to dunk the basketball? And I laughed when I heard this because in her mind, it feels like she's becoming a giant, especially when she looks at where she was 3 or 4 years ago and where she is now. It feels like this process is never going to end. One of the things that this makes me think about is our own growth and maturity as human beings. That, like with every other person in the world, my son and my daughter are going to reach a point someday where they're going to realize that they've actually put their final mark on that door frame because they would have reached their natural, genetically predetermined maximum height. But what's beautiful in life is that just because we stop growing physically, it doesn't mean that that's it in terms of our growth, that we have an opportunity for our entire lifespan to keep growing. And this growth doesn't happen if we are closed to new things and new experiences, but rather it happens in direct proportion to our commitment to being exposed to that which is different from what we know and understand right now, especially when being open in this way might feel risky. This past Sunday, I preached a sermon called Is Your Door Open? And we talked about the connection between vulnerability and blessing, that when we're open to letting in perspectives and experiences that are different than ours, that maybe challenge our assumptions and our worldviews, that even though that feels risky, it also, the door's open for the blessing that comes in with growing and maturing as individuals and as communities. Right now in our national life, we are coming face to face once again with systemic injustice and racial prejudice. And we are at a point in all of our lives where we have the option to either be closed and say, this feels threatening, there's a risk here, or to be open to the experiences and the suffering of an entire demographic of people, our African American brothers and sisters, who have a story to tell. And I want to invite you into a practice that I am committed to. And right now, this is what it looks like. I have a list of books that I am reading this summer. And I would like to invite you to join me in reading these books and to having conversations around them. Here's the book that I'm currently reading. It's called So You Want to Talk About Race by Ijeoma Oluo. And I'm finding this book to be really helpful to me in my own growth, in my own life, around issues of race and justice. And below this video in our newsletter, I've put some dates down, and I'd like to invite you to join me in conversation around this book. And you'll also see other books that I have on my list and dates that correspond to those. And my idea is that we'll read a book together and then we'll come for a couple of hours as a community, break out into small groups and discuss the readings and how we're growing and what we're learning in the middle of this very, very important season in our life as a nation. Friends, by no means do I feel like I have learned everything there is to know about most subjects, and especially about race in America. But I want to learn, and I can't think of a better community to learn with than my own faith community. Thank you for being a part of this journey with me. I look forward to seeing you on Sunday.